Hey guys, welcome to another episode of A Drummer's Guide to. So I'm going to geek out with you again. I was thinking back to, it was the year 2009. I had just read this book called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. Loved it. Obsessed. Instantly obsessed. And it basically outlined this concept of 10,000 hours. So in order to be a master at something, you have to spend 10,000 hours doing this, and then you'll become a master by default. And this book cited loads of different examples of people like, Steve Jobs and all that bunch, and the Beatles was the one that stood out to me. Obviously, I'm a musician. It's going to when they went over to Germany and they were doing all these gigs, and it turned out that all the hours that they'd been doing gigging over this period of years amounted to 10,000 hours, and I was just like, this is amazing. So 2009, I was sat beside a lake. It sounds so like, I don't know, lame. Anyway, I was sat beside a lake and I was thinking about this concept, and I was just like, well, so 2009, I was 21 years old. Is that right? I think that's right. Yes. And I was just sat there just going, well, okay, let's think about this. I wonder how many hours I've done. I wonder, by this point, I've been playing since I was 11, so I'd been playing for 8 years or whatever. Is that right? No, 9 years. What is wrong with me today? Honestly. I'd been playing since I was 11 in 1999. 10 years I'd been playing. I'm about to do some equations, so this is going to be fun. So I was sat there and I got my calculator on my phone and I just thought, right, I'm going to work this out. So from 11 till 18, I'd been in school, and every day I'd gone in for an hour before school, and like between, I'd say like on average another hour between like lunchtime and playing after school. So let's say averaging 2 hours a day practicing, and that was 5 times a week. And then also I was sort of playing in bands and I was rehearsing and doing the odd gig here and there. So I just figure, okay, maybe I was doing, and I was practicing at home towards the latter end of that too. So let's say on average maybe 4 hours a week extra on top of that. So 10 hours practicing in school and another 4 hours. So that's 14 hours. This is where, so I'm doing the math here. 14 hours, let's say for 50 weeks of the year, take out 2 weeks for like a holiday, because we may go on holiday somewhere on the summer holidays. And that amounts to 700 hours a year. And that is from 11 till 18, so that's 7 years. So that's 4,900 hours. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm sat here by this lake and I'm now 21. So from 18 to 21, I was probably doing around about, probably the same actually, 10 hours practice. And then between, again, I was playing in so many bands. I was playing full time at that point, not earning a full time living necessarily, but definitely playing the hours. So I was doing maybe 16 hours of rehearsals and let's say 6 hours of gigs every week. So again, that makes 32, I think. Times that by 50, so that's 1,600 hours a year. And then that was times by 3, which was 4,800 hours, which means that's 9,700 hours. So basically, what I'm trying to say is I was edging towards this 10,000 hours thing. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I was really disappointed because I didn't feel like a master. Not at all. In terms of a career, I mean, I'd really only just started properly playing professionally full time. I'd started the year before with a band called The Hours, but I was like the second drummer, and I was sort of a percussionist, really. I was playing on a stand-up kit, which was like toms and a snare. I mean, it was a kit stood up, but it felt like a percussionist. I felt like I was playing a percussionist role, which was never my intention. So I didn't even feel particularly successful, let alone a master of my instrument. So I was just like, this doesn't make sense to me. And then I started I went down a rabbit hole, and I won't go down it with you, but I started thinking about, well, if I was to start the 10,000 hours again from today, well then, okay, how would I do this in like 1 year? It turns out you have to play for 27 hours a day to do it in 1 year, so that's probably not going to work. And then I was trying to, well, if I wanted to do it for over 3 years, well, that's 9 hours a day. Anyway, I went down this rabbit hole, which ended up being fraught with overwhelm and inaction and paralysis and just being like, I can't do this. But then I was thinking about it more, and I thought, well, what have I done in those 10,000 hours? And what transpired was, it was 10,000 hours, some of which was really beneficial. It was, pushing myself, it was getting out of my comfort zone, it was learning new things, which just comes along with learning a new instrument, I suppose. I mean, it's just inevitable. So that was like good quality. But other stuff would have been just messing around, playing for an hour here and there, which wasn't pushing me in any particular direction. So it was a little more general. So I came up with this idea that maybe I should be more purposeful with what I was practicing and what these 10,000 hours meant. And yeah, okay, I was coming up to these 10,000 hours, but I was like, well, it's clearly not good enough, so let me keep going. Not that, once you hit 10,000 hours, you stop. That's not how life works. But I did make a decision, and I thought, okay, while sitting beside this lake, I made a plan, and I was just like, right, well, where do I want to be? All I'd known before this point was that I wanted to be a professional drummer. I wanted to earn a living playing drums. I mean, that's okay, but that means that there's a lot to cover if you want to be a general master of the drums. First of all, that doesn't exist, and although you might have your favourite drummer, I know I have mine, I would not consider any single one of them the master of the drums as a whole. They're very incredible masters at particular things. So I was like, well, what do I want to be a master at? What do I want to be good at? Where do I want to be? And I thought, well, okay, I want to be playing songs. I want to be playing music. I want to be playing with artists. Okay, again, a little bit general, sort it out. So what I started doing was I started getting together a playlist to be specific, of the kinds of artists that I wanted to be working with. And I would record myself playing to them. I would listen back. I often hark on about this, but it's the most important thing I ever did. And it was around this time that I made this decision. It was at 21, where I decided to religiously, everything that I did, I would record myself on a little dictaphone. I would listen back, and then I would adjust, and I would play again, and I would record again, and I would adjust, and I would listen back. And this kind of very, purposeful way of learning really helped me. So I got really good at locking in with records, which meant world-class players, world-class drummers that I looked up to. I was locking in with them as players, so that was really beneficial. And it was hard. I thought I was good at it. Oh no, I was not good at it. Same with locking in with like the click and stuff, which is general, but there are certain things that are just absolutely you must be good at. The click is one of them. The other thing that I started doing was I was recording gigs that I was playing as well, and trying to make them the best that I could, because I love playing live. I love playing gigs. If I could be making my full-time living playing gigs, I'm going to be doing that, which I have been. And then it was other things. It was getting out of my comfort zone when it came to things like networking. I suffered so massively with social anxiety when I was younger. To a degree, I still do at times. I catch myself, and I have various things that I do to kind of help myself. But at that time, it was like crippling. But I knew that if I spent one of my hours, that week or whatever, that day, getting out there and being at a gig, at a jam night, whatever it was, in fact, going and playing jams as well, that was another thing, I knew that that was actually a much more beneficial use of one of those 10,000 hours than just sitting behind a kit and playing. It would have had benefits, but I tried to make sure that the next 10,000 hours that I did, every single one of those hours counted. So anyway, I just wanted to share with you what my experience of that whole 10,000 hours thing. And hey, it worked. I mean, it didn't take another 10,000 hours, because literally the following 3 years were bonkers. So within a year, I was playing with Brian Ferry, and I had recorded on that album Olympia, which was just mind blown, astronomical crazy. I toured South America and Europe and a bit of Asia with Tricky. I had started working with Cher Lloyd, and I was even running playback, and I was technically the on the road MD, which is again bonkers. And that was all within 3 years of sitting by that lake and just deciding to make sure that the next 10,000 hours counted. Anyway, I hope that this has helped you in some way and inspired you to get your 10,000 hours done, or your next 10,000, or who knows how many thousands of hours we're up to now. But just be purposeful. It's definitely much more worth it. Anyway, I hope you're well. I hope you're healthy and safe and happy wherever you are. And I will be back next week for another subject. All right, sending you lots and lots of love. I'll see you soon. See you later. Bye.